Good morning, Sean Hannigan, Chief Investment Officer for Aurora Capital, with the April market update. Well, what a month. I guess months like April's teach us as investors what risk is all about, and also teaches the importance of remaining disciplined, i.e. don't get whipsawed by market events. Trust the process and hold the course, because if you'd sold out sort of early April on the back of the market sell-offs after the Trump Liberation Day announcements, you would have missed the 10% recovery that happened in the second half of April. So as I said earlier, the markets started off pretty poorly in April with the Liberation Day announcements, in which Trump announced tariffs in most countries around the world. The market certainly was surprised at the level of those tariffs and subsequently sold off quite dramatically. This forced a bit of a back down from the Trump administration, and they dropped tariffs back down to 10%. And gave a 90-day window for the US administration to do one-on-one negotiations with these other countries. It's a pretty heroic assumption, but nonetheless the markets were supportive of it and had a big bounce. The only exception was China, where Trump basically lifted tariffs to 145%. China retaliated, lifted to pretty similar amounts, which basically means that all trade between those countries would cease. But nonetheless, there was still the belief that Trump would capitulate at some point, so markets continued to grind higher during April. And actually finished the month slightly below where they started, which is a pretty good achievement, really. There was a couple of sell-offs again on announcements, but bounced back. The one was the 100% tariffs on films, which no one's quite sure how that will work. But anyway, so I think the markets are still here being driven very much by sentiment rather than fundamentals. And now I'm doing this early May. We've just seen another sort of wind back on the Trump tariffs in China, but we'll talk about that more next month. So basically our funds had the growth and balanced funds were down slightly in month, and they benefit from being very diversified across a whole range of risky assets. And this smoothed out some of the sort of big drawdowns from global equities. Our more conservative funds actually eked out very small positive gains. As I said earlier, I think the markets are still being driven by technicals and sentiment, not by fundamentals. So we remain somewhat defensive because we think, you're not really been rewarded for taking risk in this environment. So we'll just remain defensive. And as we see opportunities, we'll look to add more risk into global equities. So look, that's my summary for April. If you do have any more questions, please reach out to your advisor. I'm sure they'll be able to help. Thank you for your time.